Y'all should be live now.
Right. Fantastic. All right. Well, I'll give it, okay, we just hit 8:30, so I'm going to go ahead and go. I am Leka Shupek. I'm the North Carolina State Director for All on the Line, and I'm here today to open up our second day of the Fight for Fair MAP Summit. I'm really thrilled for everyone to be here today. I think it's going to be super educational. We have tons of good presenters, people who I have been wanting you all to hear from for a really long time that we finally pulled together. So I'm so glad that you get to be here. I am going to pass it over to Pastor William Lucas from Durham, North Carolina, to kind of give us a nice opening statement, kind of do some inspiration for the day. And he has been a sort of a volunteer with us at All on the Line from the very first days. Him when he was giving a public comment at one of the redraws during the court-ordered redraws in 2019. So he's been with us for a while, and I always find him a super energizing presence. So I wanted him to come here today to kind of open things up for us. So Pastor Lucas, why don't you go ahead?
Thank you so much, Leka. First, I want to just welcome everyone to this wonderful state of North Carolina. This is the best basketball barbecue state in the nation. So I know I have some individuals from New York who may object, and other states as well, but I only have to say one name. And the name that I'm going to say is David Thompson from NC State. I know a lot of you probably thought that I would say MJ, Michael Jordan, because he is the best basketball player that has ever existed. However, please check out David on Google him and find out how excellent he was as a basketball player here in the state of North Carolina and around the world. However, we're here today to discuss a really serious issue, and that's the issue of redistricting. Redistricting will occur in North Carolina and across the United States this year. We all know that 10 years ago, the redistricting process changed the course of our nation, not just the Democratic Party, but it changed the course of our nation. Even today, we have an epidemic of COVID-19 that has killed almost 400,000 Americans. And it all can be traced back. A lot of this can be traced back to gerrymandering and that policy of politicians picking their voters instead of voters choosing their politicians. So we're excited today to have this opportunity to meet and to learn from so many wonderful people. Today, I've been asked to do an opening. And first of all, I would like to say that the title, All on the Line, that's so relevant to this day. And the name could not be more appropriate to what we're dealing with now and what we dealt with in the past. First, I would like to start by saying all was on the line. Last year, the presidential election, all was on the line. And all was on the line because we started a slippery slope. We started a slippery slope when we allowed states to gerrymander, because at that point, we allowed them to pick their voters. And a slippery slope in law, when we were in law school, it basically, one illustration that one of my professors used was a snowball. A snowball is relatively small when it starts on the top of a hill. But if you continue to let that snowball roll, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So we started a slippery slope through gerrymandered districts and allowing politicians to select their voters. And then it grew. Politicians were allowed to select their voters. So politicians thought they could select our president. You see how that snowball effect occurred? It got bigger and bigger and bigger. And just this week, unfortunately, we had the first insurrection of the United States Capitol because gerrymandered politicians thought they knew more than the voters, or we are the people. Now, I mentioned North Carolina earlier, and I'm a proud North Carolinian, lived here most of my life. However, North Carolina has a dark history, a dark side too, of insurrection. In Wilmington, right after the Reconstruction period, an angry mob of white citizens took over the town violently, an insurrection where they removed elected officials from offices, destroyed African-American businesses. One of the worst insurrections, at one point, I think it was the only insurrection in American history until this particular week at the Capitol. This is the result of gerrymandered districts. All was on the line during the last election. All was on the line because we had a runaway president. The Constitution requires that the legislative branch have checks and balances over the executive branch. And the judiciary is supposed to interpret the rules in a fair and equitable manner. But when that system is broken, when you have the floodgates destroyed, America is on the verge of losing its democratic values. And that's what we saw. We saw a Senate that would not hold President Donald Trump accountable. He even made the unconscionable comment that I can stand on Fifth Avenue in New York City and shoot someone and get away with it. Well, he got away with the lies, the snowball effect. He got away with the treasonous acts with foreign adversaries. He got away with so many things because the checks and balance system was broken. And I strongly believe that our founding fathers would turn over in their graves today to allow a man, one citizen, to get away with doing so much harm to this nation. Because when you think about it, and it's an implied good faith addition to every law that we have. And a lot of our actors were not acting in good faith, and the Senate refused to impeach him. The judiciary allowed this almost dictator or wannabe dictator to get away with some heinous acts. So all was on the line during the last presidential election. But the good news is, because of you, we almost have a fourth branch of government, and it's called We the People of the United States of America. We said, not here, not so. And almost 81 million of us went out and voiced our concerns and saved this great union that we had. You should give yourselves a hand for that, because all on the line was right on the front line doing all of these activities. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I did not participate in every activity because I'm technology deficient in some of those. But I tried to give my resources, my time and energy to do what I can. But I thank God for the young people like Lika and so many others that know how to work with technology and other things. But all on the line, you should be proud of yourselves. We, the people, make no mistake about it, saved our democracy. Not just Democrats. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This was an American issue. And I'm so glad that 81 million of us stood up for righteousness and justice on Martin Luther King holiday. What a better way to celebrate that. However, as I close, all is still on the line. Earlier, I said all was on the line. However, all is presently on the line. We cannot sleep at this point. We cannot allow, like in North Carolina, one person with the millions of people in this state, one person decided how our congressional, how our district lines would be drawn. And they packed as many African Americans in one section of the state as they could. And that's called packing, so that our votes would be diluted. We can't allow this to happen in this state again. We can't sit idly by and let the few determine the plight of the many. And that's why I'm so glad today that this particular training session is happening. We have some of the best and brightest minds in America on these particular issues of redistricting. And we have our fearless leader, Attorney Eric Holder, President Obama, so many others continuing to fight. So today I'm excited. I can't wait to sit back and glean and learn, sit at the feet of Gamelia and learn how to continue to fight. And I hope you will join us. Thanks again and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Pastor Lucas. I'm sure you can all see why I asked Pastor Lucas to open us up today. He always brings me a lot of energy and joy and motivation. So thank you again. I'm so grateful to you for showing up in this early morning to open us up.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course. All right, so we are about to go into the rest of our day. We have a full schedule today. We have a bunch of different panels with lots of different interesting experts. So next at when you come back at 9 a.m., we will have the Why You Should Care About Redistricting panel that has some issue experts on other topics like reproductive rights, environmental issues, police accountability and LGBTQ issues there to talk about how redistricting has affected them. We will have at 10 a.m. will be the 2020 census debrief with Stacey Carlos from NC Census Counts. So she'll be letting you know what happened with the census last year, where we are now. At 11 a.m. we have How Do We Know It's a Gerrymander with Jonathan Mattingly from Duke University. He's been an expert witness in some of these redistricting cases. He's going to talk about the different analytical techniques that they use to find out whether or not something is a gerrymander. And then at 12 p.m. I will be facilitating a panel on the past, present, and future of redistricting reform in North Carolina with Alec Colston from the NAACP NC Raleigh Apex branch, Tomas Lopez from Democracy NC, and Bob Phillips from Common Cause. And then at 1 p.m. we have What Makes a Redistricting Comment Effective with Peter Miller from the Brennan Center, and he's going to talk about the characteristics of effective redistricting public comments. I think that's going to be really interesting. And then of course at 2 p.m. we have our keynote with Eric Holder. And so for all the sessions that are before that, you will use the same link that you used to come to this opening here. But the 2 p.m. keynote has a different link. So you should have received that in the schedule, and I will also send out a reminder about it to everyone who signed up so that everyone has that. But what we're going to do now is we're going to actually close out this webinar and then get our next panelists prepped. So you will still be using the same links to come to come to the 9 a.m. session. You may get a screen that says waiting to let you in, and that's just because we need some time to make sure that our panelists are ready, that they're all here, that all the technology is working, but you will be let in at 9 a.m. when we actually go live. So please don't be confused by that. It's just to make sure that we have some time with our panelists to make sure that they're ready. So with that said, I'm really looking forward to the rest of today with you all. And we will be back in about 15 minutes. So take your break, get your breakfast, you know, so that you can come back and, you know, have a cup of coffee while you listen to everyone speak. All right, well, we will see you all soon in just a few minutes. Okay, bye.